Imagine running your business with total confidence, knowing exactly where every dollar is coming from and going. No guesswork, no anxiety, just clarity. No more stomach knots when you think about your finances. Instead, you'll feel excited about the possibilities ahead. That's not a fantasy. It's exactly what a simple financial health check can do for your business. And today I'm going to show you how to make that a reality. You're listening to the Productive Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Tonia Kendrick, and I'm on a mission to help online business owners like you focus on the right things and take imperfect action. Every week, you'll get my best tips on everything from time management and content creation to planning effectively and managing mindset issues, all in an effort to help you become more productive. So let's jump into this episode. Here's the thing. Doing a financial health check isn't just about crunching numbers, though we'll definitely do some of that. It's about getting that clarity that lets you make smart decisions for your business. Plus, there's nothing quite like the confidence boost when you know exactly where your money's going. So what exactly is a financial health check? Think of it like a wellness check for your business's bank account. You know how you go to the doctor for an annual physical to make sure everything's working as it should? Your business needs the same kind of attention. A common mistake I see among my students is thinking that checking their bank balance is enough. Big mistake. They'll see a nice chunk of money come in from a launch or a client and think they're doing great, only to realize later that they hadn't accounted for all the expenses that went into marketing the course or acquiring the client. Not to mention the regular monthly expenses that keep sneaking up on them. This is super important for us online business owners because our income can be pretty unpredictable. One month you might launch a course and have an amazing revenue spike, and the next month might be quieter while you're doing back-scenes work like creating new content. I remember my first year in business, I had no idea how to plan for these fluctuations, and it felt like I was on a constant financial roller coaster. So, quick question. When was the last time you really looked at your business's financial pulse? And I don't mean just checking your bank balance, though that's definitely a start. I'm talking about really understanding where your money's coming from and where it's going. If you're drawing a blank or feeling a little uncomfortable right now, don't worry, you're definitely not alone. So let's break down what we need to look at, and I promise to keep this super practical and actionable. First up is cash flow analysis. Think of this as your business's heartbeat. It's not just about how much money you have right now, but how it moves through your business over time. For example, in my business, I know that course launch months bring in big chunks of revenue, but I need to spread that money out to cover the slower months when I'm creating new products. Speaking of money movement, let's talk about tracking those expenses. This goes way beyond just knowing what you're spending money on. It's about understanding the story behind each expense. For instance, the first time I did a deep dive into my expenses, I realized I had several subscriptions I was paying for annually that I wasn't really using anymore. In fact, if I had been paying monthly, I would have canceled those subscriptions right then, but I was locked in. So the lesson there is to make sure I'm going to use something all year before I commit to a long-term subscription. Then there's your revenue streams assessment. In my business, this was eye-opening. I discovered that while course launches brought in the biggest chunks of money, my membership actually provided more stable, predictable income over the year. We also need to look at those profit margins, and this is where a lot of online business owners get tripped up. You may think you're crushing it with a $10,000 launch, only to sit down and realize that after paying for ads, your course platform fees, and all the tools you need, your actual profit is way less than you thought. This is why you really need to understand your numbers. Now let's get practical about how to actually do this. First, you'll want to gather all your financial documents. I know this sounds like a pain, but I promise it's worth it. Pull up your bank statements from the last 3 months. Grab those payment processor reports from Stripe or PayPal. And don't forget about any other places you might be receiving money. Next, we're going to look at your income and expenses in detail. Start with your income, and I want you to break this down by product or service. How much are you actually bringing in from each offer? I'm always surprised by how much income I get from Be a Goal Getter, my productivity workbook and 90-day planner. It's a low-cost item, but it sells in volume. When it comes to expenses, we need to get really honest here. You know those subscriptions you signed up for during free trials and forgot about? Yeah, it's time to hunt those down. Go through every single charge. I always like to look at the domains I'm holding on to. Am I really going to use them? If not, I make a note to let them expire. Now comes the fun part, looking for opportunities to improve. This isn't about beating yourself up over past decisions. It's about making better ones going forward. Maybe you'll find that certain products are more profitable than others, or that some marketing channels give you better returns. Use this information to make strategic decisions about where to focus your energy and resources. Oh, and by the way, I have a whole episode dedicated to making smart financial decisions. I'll drop a link to it in the show notes. Now let's talk about the benefits of regular financial health checks. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine sitting down to plan your next quarter, and instead of guessing about your numbers, you know exactly what you need to generate to hit your goals. You know which products bring in the most profit, which months typically have higher expenses, and exactly how much you need to set aside for taxes. This kind of clarity changes everything. When I started doing regular financial health checks, I finally felt confident making big business decisions. Should I invest in that new course platform? Could I afford to outsource that project I was thinking about? The answers were right there in my numbers. But it's not just about the big decisions. Regular financial health checks help with the day-to-day stuff too. You'll start noticing patterns in your business, like maybe your membership signups spike in January, or your product sales dip during summer months. This knowledge lets you plan ahead instead of being caught off guard. And let's talk about stress reduction. You get a big sense of relief when you know exactly where you stand financially. No more lying awake at night wondering if you're making the right decisions, or if you can even afford to pay yourself this month. All right, let's wrap up with some action steps. Here's what I want you to do this week. First, block out 2 solid hours in your calendar. This isn't optional. Treat it like a crucial business meeting, because that's exactly what it is. You're meeting with your numbers. And trust me, they have some interesting things to tell you. During those 2 hours, gather all your financial documents. Look at your income streams one by one, review every expense, start identifying patterns, and most importantly, use this information to make a plan going forward. Then set up a recurring monthly appointment with yourself to keep this habit going. I do mine on the first Friday of every month, right after I finish my weekly Finance Friday workflow. And hey, if you're thinking, this sounds great, but I need more guidance, I've got you covered. Inside my course, Fearless Finances, you'll learn financial management essentials like how to set up critical business systems, understand key financial reports, and create a solid action plan. You'll get templates, worksheets, and step-by-step guidance so that you can manage your finances with confidence. I'll drop a link to the course in the show notes. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that getting control of your numbers isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware and making informed decisions. If you found this episode helpful, would you do me a quick favor? Leave a rating and review. That helps other solopreneurs who might need this info find the podcast. We're all in this together, and sometimes just knowing where to start with your finances can make all the difference. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with how to be more consistent in your business. Until then, and before you go, if you like what you hear on the Productive Entrepreneur podcast, then come check out the Organized Business Toolbox. It's my monthly membership for solo entrepreneurs who want to feel in control and take imperfect action to move their businesses forward. When you join, you'll get instant access to the Training and Resource Vault, and a new toolbox or course drops every month. Plus, we have monthly Voxer office hours where you can privately ask me questions and get my direct feedback. If that sounds like something you need, the link is in the show notes, or visit ToniaKendrick.com, and I'll see you on the inside.